All right, we want to talk about the pandemic and the many impacts it's had on life. Something we may have taken for granted, work friends, from seeing them all the time every day to all those Zoom calls. As things are getting back to normal for lots of people, those young workers just starting their careers, well, now they have to figure out how to make those work friends early on, and it's something that is key. Joining us right now to discuss, psychologist and executive coach Dr. Lisa Orbe-Austin. So first off, thank you for being with us. Secondly, how important are these friendships, especially in those early years of a career, to kind of form?
Yeah, so early in your career, you're, really still forming your identity. And so those relationships can be very important to the formative years of your own adulthood. And so it's a one lovely time when you have less responsibility and more time to really invest in those relationships at work that really have a commonality around the thing that you do. And then also have a significant amount of time that you just ordinarily spend together usually.
I have to imagine, too, for mental health purposes, when it comes to dealing with issues in the workplace, people you work with are much better off, I imagine, at listening to your issues, having the ability to give you good advice when you come home and talk to others. They may not really understand the interworkings of maybe what you're talking about in your office workplace. So does that help, too?
Yeah, I mean, there's research to show that if you have friends at work, it can actually reduce your cortisol levels. And I think, people who are at the workplace actually understand all the players, they understand the context. They can really have a greater understanding of what's happening day to day than someone you're reporting stuff to and reporting just, select details.
And that makes a lot of sense. And now we're watching kind of the landscape of work as we've seen it, companies as we've seen it change a little. So much going remote, companies not renewing leases. So a lot of stuff we're seeing sort of long term looking like it's going to be a lot of more that Zoom, maybe interspersed with those meetings in person. Can these young workers actually form the kind of bonds we've seen over the years over Zoom or sort of social media?
Yeah, there's some research to show that work friendships are actually decreasing. And I think it is due to the Zoom environment. And I think what's really important is if you are wanting to do this, you really have to do it with intentionality. Now, when we interact with our coworkers, we're doing it because we have a meeting, because we have something specifically to talk about. There's not a lot more of water cooler, lunchtime, other kinds of activities. So really taking advantage of the activities that are offered to you. And then, trying to find ways to meet offline related to work and try to find ways to kind of connect with your coworkers intentionally.
Do you think that that's something companies in the long term will start looking at more of, how to foster those relationships and how to make sure people are able to get together and get to know each other instead of just the, hey, can you do this for me? This is the deadline type of situation?
Yeah, I think they are, because they're also recognizing, for a number of reasons, including the fact that you can have greater organizational loyalty, and that also you can feel a greater sense of happiness at work when you have friends and connections at work, that they are trying to do this with happy hours, in-person meetings, like trying to do offsites and kind of sometimes nice places where they pay for all expenses. So I think they're trying to make an effort to actually build the relationships on staff very thoughtfully. And I think I would encourage people to take advantage of those opportunities. You never know what relationship might result as a result of going to these things.
I think sometimes people look at them as just an extension of the workday, but you're saying take a break, take a minute, and go to these events, take part in them, because it actually will benefit you possibly long term.
Yes.
Perfect. Dr. Lisa, thank you so much. And look, if you want more of this and all of that great advice, you can follow her at Dr. Orbe-Austin. We will see you next week. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.